So this is the part 2 of learning CrewAI, and please take a look at part 1 if you want to understand how this project is created. And we discussed a couple of fundamental building blocks of CrewAI in part 1. And in part 1 we created agents and tasks and tools, and we created a real life example which you can really use today itself to save some time. So that's what we did in part 1. So in part 2, we are going to create a scenario where we will be creating an agent for HR, human resources. And this agent can answer all the HR questions. They can tell you about the policies, your vacation balance, or your immigration status, and all other questions you have with HR. So that's the agent we are going to build in this session. And then we are going to see how easy and simple it is to put human in the loop. So when these agents are working, and if they need a input from human, how we can code that aspect of this agentic framework, how to bring the human in the loop. So these are the two things we are going to see in this session. So let's start from here. This is my main file. Again, as I said, please take a look at part 1 if you don't understand all this project structure and how the agents and tasks and tools are working. It will clarify all those questions to you, and then from here we are just talking about the crew and the task and tools. We are not talking about the fundamentals of them. Okay, so to create an HR agent, basically we created an HR crew, and as we know, the crew is a collection of agents and tasks and tools. So when we say HR crew, let's see what is this HR crew is. And this HR crew is defined in this file. So this HR crew is defining a class with agents and tasks. And as you can see here, we are defining one agent, HR manager. This agent is called HR manager. And then we are defining a task called HR task. And as you can see that this task is using a vacation tool and ask human. So we will going to develop a custom tool here. In part 1 we did not do anything much with the tool. So in part 2 we are going to do this, create a custom tool for vacation. And then we define the crew. This is a crew function which returns a crew, which returns this agent and task. And again the process is sequential. Now coming back here, let's look at the agent. So when we are defining an agent, we give this config, and the config name is HR manager. So let's look at first the agent. So it is defined in config file. We have a couple of files. One was agent file, which we seen in our part 1. But for part 2, we are creating a separate agent YAML where we are defining an agent called HR manager, and this is the role that HR manager has. You can answer all the questions related to HR pertaining to the employee name. This employee name again coming from main, and the reason we are giving it this employee name because we want this HR manager to answer all the personalized questions, like questions about a particular employee, not just generic answers, right? So we wanted to make it very specific. So this agent can talk about a particular employee. And here in the main, you can see we have this vacation input, which we pass when we start the crew. And one of the input is employee name. And this name we are using here in the HR agent. And then we define its goal and then the backstory. Backstory, as we already talked about, it is the persona of the agent. So here we are saying that you are responsible for managing the human resources of the company, you know about all the policies and HR related matter, and you can answer all this. And these backstories and roles, all those things, these description is used by LLM to navigate the code, to call which agent and which tool. These comments are very important now when we are building this AI system which is based on agents. So this is, we talked about agent, Now here the next thing is task, right? So let's look at the task. So now let's take a look at HR task. As you can see, the description here is make sure you answer all the questions relating to HR and make sure you are updated to HR policies, and expected output is a list of all the questions asked and their answers. And the agent which will be using this task is HR manager, which we already seen. That's the agent. Not agent YAML, but HR agent, right? HR manager. Now these two things are defined. And as you can see here, when we are returning this task, the task is having a pointer to this tools, vacation tool and ask human. So now let's look at the vacation tool. As you can see, we define a vacation tool input, and this is the input schema for vacation tools, which is very simple. It is nothing but a string. Okay. And then the vacation tool, its name is vacation tool, and description is this tool is used for check number of days vacation for an employee. Now this tool can actually make a call to a web service, check your database and all, but for this example we just hard coded couple of employees and their vacation balance just to show the concept. But as you understand, this can do anything. It can call API, it can update your ServiceNow, it can check your Jira ticket, it can check your database. Here you can make a call to do anything. Okay, so this is the vacation tool. As you can see, it has a method called run, and it takes an argument of string which is coming from vacation tool inputs, and it will respond with the real answer, like how many days vacation is left for a particular employee. So these are the three things. All these three things you see, they tie here together. We define an agent, then we define a task, and task has a vacation tool, and this ask human will come to it later. And the expected outcome is this. And here we are returning the crew. This is all about HR crew. So when we go to main, in the run function, we have just this method. And this first line you see which is commented, this is what we did in part 1. And here's part 2. Okay, now let's run this CrewAI.run, and you can see it in the main. We are running this method which is passing a vacation input, employee name Bob. And in a few minutes we'll see what happens if we don't pass the employee name. Then we'll write a ask the human that what is the name of the employee. So it's running now, and we can see here in vacation tool we created, these are the employees and these are their vacation balance. Alice has 10 days, Bob has 15 days, and here's the response came back. Bob has 15 days of vacation left. So we did create a very specific agent which is an HR agent which can answer the employee vacation balance. So let's change it to Alice and just run it again just for the heck of it. Okay, here you can see Alice has 10 days left, and it's very interesting to see how agent is thinking, and it is figuring out can answer all the questions relating to HR pertaining to Alice, and it needs to use vacation tool. And then this is the input of the tool, and this is the output of the tool. So tool input is argument Alice. As you can see in vacation, here's the argument is coming, and we are looking against the employee list. What are the arguments? And after getting the tool output, this is the final answer of the vacation balance of an employee. Now let's look at a scenario where we want human to input the name of the employee. So first thing, let's do that. Let's not pass this Alice here and go and create a human in the loop tool. Okay, this tool, as you can see, it is a tool which is having an ask human, and it has a question. The string comes to it, and here's the description of this tool: ask human follow-up question. And I am just inputting, showing it on our terminal, a input question, and human will input the question and then will return that question. So the next thing we have to do is here come to Crew and add Ask Human tool. So the Ask Human tool is used here, and in the tool list we'll put this Ask Human. So quick recap, we added another tool, Ask Human, and added that tool here to the task. And in the task, if you will see, we did not talk about the tool to be added, which tool this task can use, right? And that's the beauty of LLM. It's going to figure out that no employee name is given, employee name is empty, so it's going to ask human because it says ask human follow-up question. So let's run this and see what happens. And as you can see, this agent figured it out, the name is not given. So it is asking now, this is the human in the loop. Now human, as a human, I can put someone's name, Bob. And then when it asked me the question, I replied Bob, and it gives me the tool input. This is the input, and this is the output from this Ask Human tool. Output is Bob, and it then calls the vacation tool, and then it gives me the final answer. So this is how you can create human in the loop. You can create your own custom tools and then custom agents, and then all this can be wrapped into a custom crew, and then custom crew you can kick off like this. So in part 3 we may see how we can use the different LLM, maybe like DeepSeek or Llama, on your box itself and not make a call to ChatGPT. So that's one thing we will see, and the other thing maybe we can try it out, that how we can have different crew, they can work together, and how the agents can talk to each other. And then we'll address this advanced scenario in our next session.